All right, boys and girls, we're going to continue with the Apothecary, and we are going to move into chapter 5. It's called Sherwood Forest, and I suspect that has something to do with Jamie's mom and dad writing about a recreation of Robin Hood. And one thing I want you to think about some more is setting. I know a lot of people think, oh, the first 2 chapters are setting and then we're good. But just like the story, often our setting develops. It becomes richer and it gives us more information about our characters and our plot. So we want to notice the changes, and we're now in a studio that is designed to look like Sherwood Forest. What does that mean? And it's also, as we examine our setting, gives us an understanding of how much in depth the author has gone into the time period they chose to set their story. And that will give us information also, and maybe some predictions about what a character may or may not do. Bringing us to analyzing the text as we read. It's fun to kind of ask questions and think. Notice and note strategies, things like contrast and contradiction. When a character does something opposite to what you were anticipating them doing or what you yourself would do, you stop and you ask, why is this character doing that? Right? And you analyze it and think about it and the pros and the cons of those actions, because it gives you a deeper understanding of the story and helps you make a stronger picture in your head. It's just more fun, okay? And then an aha moment. When the character realizes or understands or finally figures something out, how might this change things? Then tough question, when the character asks themselves a difficult question, what does the question make me wonder? There are several others. You can look them up. But the important thing here is to stop and ask yourself questions as you listen to this story or as you read yourself to give yourself a better understanding of the narrative. All right, chapter 5, Sherwood Forest. At Riverton Studios, in a gray mist, I pushed open the 2 heavy doors of the soundstage and walked into a green canopy of trees, warm with light. There was a rope swing hanging from one of the trees and a log bridge. The trees were all made of fabric and papier-mâché and plywood, but the effect was beautiful. There was a hut that was clearly the hero's hiding place. I would have loved to play inside it when I was just a tiny bit younger, and in all honesty, I still wanted to. I didn't see any actors, and thought they must not be filming yet. No one noticed me, and I stood for a moment, taking it in. My parents were across the soundstage talking to a tall woman with piled-up red hair, and I could tell that my father was acting out a scene. He did that all the time. He couldn't just suggest a story idea. He had to act it out. My mother stood with her arms crossed and watched him with her full attention, and with an expression that could be adoring one second and skeptical the next, depending on what she thought of his idea. It always made me feel that she knew him perfectly and loved him, but couldn't be fooled. Then my father saw me and threw up his hands. "Ah, but here is Maid Marian," he cried in a full Robin Hood voice. "Do tell us if we should attack the knight." I knew from years of scenes being acted out in our kitchen that the thing to do was to join in and to try to move the scene forward. "Does he come to fight?" I asked. My father looked to the others. "Why, no," he said. "He has no horse, no men-at-arms." "Then you may approach," I said, "but you mustn't attack." "What wisdom," he said, "in one so young." Then he broke the Robin Hood character and hugged me. "You found us! Come meet Olivia." The red-headed woman, their new boss, didn't shake my hand, but pulled me in and hugged me warmly too. "Thank you for loaning me your parents, Janie," she said. "They're saving my life." "How was school?" my father asked. "How were the teachers?" "They're making me take Latin," I complained, "but I don't know any Latin." "Wait, you might actually learn something?" my mother said, pretending to be aghast. I rolled my eyes. "Mom." Olivia Wolfe led us into her office, pushed coats off a chair for me, and perched on the edge of her cluttered desk. "Sit down," she said. "How was it really?" I made a face. I couldn't help it. "Not everything is bad." "Did you make friends?" "Maybe one." "What's her name?" I felt myself blushing. "His name." Olivia clapped her hands. "His name! That's a good start." He invited me to play chess in Hyde Park. Chess means he's smart, my father said. He's smart, right? Is he nice, my mother asked. Is he cute? Olivia asked. Is this an interrogation? I asked. I thought we moved here to get away from those. Touché, my father said. Olivia laughed. No question, she's your daughter. I love that little exchange because it gives us insights into the family relationship, the business relationship, and Janie's stealth at assessing a situation and playing along. So what's your boyfriend's name? My mother asked. He's not a boyfriend, I said. That's what my daughter always says, Olivia said. Anytime I think she has a boyfriend, she says it's a figment of my imagination. Ah, he's a figment, my father said, putting on an exaggerated English accent. Young Master Figment of the London Figments. 14th cousin to the Queen, Olivia trilled. I can never remember, my mother said, if the elder Figment's son is Andrew or Alistair. Normally, I loved my parents' quickness with jokes and would wish for them a boss like Olivia who was just as quick, but occasionally it could be really annoying. His name is Benjamin, I said, and he's not my boyfriend. Benjamin Figment, my father said. I like him already. Let's brush up your chest tonight. I don't want my daughter shown up by a chap called Ben Figment. I have homework. Just let me give you a good opening. Dad, I said seriously. So what's so bad about the school? Olivia asked. It sounds glorious to me, Latin and chess dates and all. It's just scary, I said. I don't know anyone. At lunch, I sat near a Russian kid, and a girl called me a Bolshevik. Ah, Olivia said, growing serious. Well, imagine being the Russian kid. And the food is terrible. Welcome to England. Just then, a girl in her 20s with big eyes and a wide lipstick smile put her head into Olivia's office. I knew she was going to be their maid Marian because I'd seen a photograph, but it was still startling to see her up close. I'd lived in Los Angeles long enough at 14 to know that actresses' beauty isn't like ordinary beauty and always seems kind of otherworldly. Her hair was set in soft curls, and she had eyelashes that you could sweep the floor with. I love that figurative language there. She had eyelashes that you could sweep the floor with. She wore a black dress with an impossibly tiny waist and a full skirt. They took my measurements and I'm off, she said. I have a date. To play chess? Olivia asked. The girl looked confused. No, we're going dancing. Of course you are, Olivia said. This is Janie, who just moved here from Hollywood. Oh, that's so tragically sad, Maid Marian said. Do you miss it terribly? Yes, I said. But it's just a neighborhood. Just a neighborhood. Will you beg your parents to write some good scenes for me so I can go there and be famous? I looked at my parents. Sure. Thank you, Maid Marian said. Now I have to run. Knock 'em dead, Olivia said. Maid Marian beamed and the skirt disappeared out the door with a flounce. My parents and Olivia looked at one another. She's beautiful, I said. Yes, well, she's giving me a pain, Olivia said. She seems to think the program is about Maid Marian and her merry men. My father said, what if we do a story where she has to flirt with the sheriff of Nottingham to, I don't know, steal the keys to the jail or something, to spring Robin, and the sheriff thinks she's really in love with him? Olivia shrugged. Maybe. Then what? The three of them started spinning the idea out. They were happy and comfortable with one another and good at what they did, and they didn't treat me like a child. They treated me like one of them. I thought about the apothecary's powder and realized I wasn't homesick anymore. I kept thinking, as the adults talked about Benjamin taking a train to Hammersmith that he didn't need to take, just because I interested him. And I couldn't keep a dopey smile off my face. I had a date. I was pretty sure. It wasn't dancing, and I didn't have perfect curled hair and a bell-like skirt, but I had a date to play chess. All right, boys and girls, I'll share the next chapter next time. I hope that gave you a lot to think about. Happy jotting. Bye.